Let's talk about something that hits home for a lot of dedicated safety professionals out there. Why does it feel like your career just hits a ceiling? You've got all the right certifications, you know the regs backward and forward, but that next promotion, that next level just feels totally out of reach. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the real reasons why, and trust me, they're not what you think.
So let's just put the question right out there. Why do so many promising safety careers seem to stall out? You're doing everything you're supposed to, you're keeping people safe on the job, and yet, when it comes to promotions, you're getting overlooked. If that sounds even a little bit familiar, I promise you are not alone. It's a super frustrating but really common experience.
And here's the thing. The answer to this career puzzle, it's not hiding in another technical course or a thicker safety manual. I mean, come on, if it were that simple, you would have figured out a long time ago.
The real barriers, and more importantly, the keys to smashing right through them, they're hidden. They're tucked away in all the invisible psychological forces that are swirling around in every single workplace. Getting a handle on these dynamics, that is the missing piece of the puzzle.
And it all starts with this huge fundamental paradox. You've seen the posters, right? You've heard the big speeches. Safety is our #1 priority. But what's the unspoken truth? Let's be real. A business exists to make a profit. That means production, revenue, hitting targets. That's what really drives day-to-day decisions. And this creates this constant tension that you as the safety professional have to live and breathe every single day.
So where do we even begin to unpack this? Well, let's start with the first major clue, something I like to call the invisible job. This is the part of your role that you won't find in any job description, but it might just be the most exhausting part of your entire day. This invisible job, it actually has a name. It's called emotional labor. Think about it. It's the work you do managing your own feelings, like the sheer frustration when you see a rule being ignored again, while also managing the feelings of others, like trying to calm down a defensive supervisor. It's all about projecting this aura of calm, confident authority, even when on the inside you might be feeling the complete opposite.
And look, you are in some pretty intense company here. Your profession sits right alongside roles like nurses, bill collectors, and teachers, jobs that demand a huge amount of emotional self-control. You're constantly dealing with pushback and resistance, all while being expected to stay cool, calm, and professional. That is exhausting, and it's work that almost nobody sees.
Now, this emotional labor kind of breaks down into two flavors. First, there's surface acting. That's basically putting on the mask, right? You're forcing a smile during a tense meeting, you're nodding patiently when you really want to tear your hair out. Then there's deep acting, which is even tougher. That's where you try to genuinely change how you feel on the inside so it matches what the job needs. Both of these are incredibly draining. And when that effort goes completely unnoticed, it's a one-way ticket to burnout.
Okay, so that's the internal strain, the battle inside your own head. But what happens when the problem isn't just internal? What if there's a fundamental conflict with the organization itself? This brings us to our second big clue, the culture clash. I mean, think about it. You can be the most zen, emotionally controlled person on the planet, but what if the company's core values are just fundamentally at odds with your professional mission? What if the culture itself is the source of all the friction?
This leads us to a really important concept from organizational psychology. It's called person-organization fit. And all that really means is this: how well do your core values line up with the actual values of the organization? And I'm not talking about the values they print on the nice posters in the lobby. I'm talking about the ones that show up every day in the decisions people make and the priorities they set.
And here is where that conflict just jumps off the page. On one side, you have your values. You're all about diligence, prevention, doing things by the book. Your whole job is to be protective and cautious. But the operational side of the business, it's often driven by speed, by production quotas, and yeah, by a certain tolerance for risk to make a profit. When these two sets of values are in a head-on collision, you're not just doing a job, you're fighting a cultural battle every single day.
All right, so we've covered the emotional drain and the cultural mismatch. But there is one more layer to this. And honestly, this is the most challenging one. This is where we have to talk about navigating people who aren't just misaligned, they might be actively working against you with their own hidden agendas.
The psychological term for this is a real mouthful: workplace Machiavellianism. But don't get hung up on the name. This isn't just a simple difference of opinion. We're talking about a personality trait where certain individuals have a cold, manipulative, and even exploitative way of dealing with their colleagues. Their main goal is personal gain.
and they often see other people as just pawns in their own game.
So here's the crucial thing to get. For these individuals, it's never about what's best for the company or what's best for safety. It's always about what's best for them. And they will absolutely manipulate situations and exploit people to get what they want, with very little thought about the consequences for anyone else.
So what does this actually look like on the ground? Well, it can be pretty subtle. It's withholding key information that you desperately need. It's outright deception and dishonesty. Sometimes it's even deliberately sabotaging your work to make you look bad. They might use charm and compliments to get you to lower your guard, only to undermine you later. And for them, your safety rules. They're not important principles. They're just annoying obstacles to be ignored or cleverly bypassed to get ahead.
Okay, after digging into emotional labor, value mismatches, and straight-up workplace manipulators, I know things might feel a little bleak, but they're not, because here's the good news. Understanding the problem is the first and most critical step to actually overcoming it. We just need a new playbook.
And this right here, this is the single most important idea I want you to walk away with. Advancing your career isn't about memorizing one more regulation or being a stricter safety cop. It is all about evolving into a savvy, smart leader who understands and knows how to navigate the human and psychological games being played in your workplace.
So what does this new playbook look like? It's really a 4-step shift in how you think. Step 1, shift from just policing problems to actually solving them. Step 2, focus on building relationships and trust, not just building walls of rules. Step 3, you've got to learn to lead with influence, because let's face it, you rarely have direct authority. And Step 4, master the language and the goals of the business, not just safety. You have to get what drives the rest of the management team.
All right, let's get even more practical with some pro tips you can use, like tomorrow. First, pick your battles. Be an absolute bulldog on the life-threatening risks, heights, confined spaces, but show some flexibility on the minor stuff. Make sure your role reports as high up as possible, ideally to the GM or president, so you're not getting overruled by the very people you're supposed to oversee. Project professionalism. Act and dress like the executives you want to be. And please, don't be the person who just ducks into the management meeting for your 5-minute safety report and leaves. Stay for the whole thing. Learn the business. And finally, my favorite, never just say no. Always come prepared with a practical, alternate solution that lets the work get done safely.
So I'm going to leave you with this one question to really chew on. Your technical skills, your certifications, they got you in the door. But it's your mastery of these invisible psychological forces that is going to unlock that next level of your career. So ask yourself, are you just managing safety rules, or are you ready to start leading workplace psychology? The choice and the opportunity is yours.